Good morning. Thank you, Chair. All protocol observed. I thank the UNDP Kampala office and the UNDC office for facilitating me to be here. I'm going to summarize the first, second, and third slide because that's what we've been listening to for the last 2 days. Basically, it's that in Uganda we have the constitution. It provides for equal or fair representation, but it limits who benefits. It only talks about where the sentence either is death or carries life imprisonment. Also talk about the mode. What mode we have in Uganda? We've looked at pro bono, we've heard about just centers, and also we have heard about partnerships. What I want to bring out here are the levels. The 5 levels, the village level, up to monitoring level. What's important here that in Uganda, there's a shift towards putting more focus towards the village level. That's where it's to do with mediation, giving information, documentation, because it prevents quite a lot of cases going through the system, and that's what you want. And also it makes access to justice much faster. Then the last level, which is the monitoring one, why put emphasis that it improves on the efficiency of the system. This is where we encourage legal service providers, just centers, and even government agencies to report on what is happening to the appropriate units. We have the district committees, the DCCs, and the chain link committees, and it has helped. What has been done to enhance access to justice? We'll start with the government. The Constitution provides for legal aid. The Constitution is very strong on it, and now when we come up with a national legal aid policy, it will not require amending the Constitution. Then 2, partnership. The partnership the government has had between development partners and it, which brought on board just centers, strengthened the law council. This is the body which works on monitoring to see what happens with the legal aid providers. Then incorporating all issues of legal aid in the justice, law, and order sector investment plan. The Just Centers Uganda project, a replica of what's here in South Africa, and then government taking the leading role when it comes to legal aid provision. The NGOs, all legal aid service providers have come up with a network. It's called LabsNet. Here they share, they exchange ideas, and has helped to improve on their capacity. Then the development partners, we have the DGF and UNDP. This has helped on duplicating what legal aid service providers are doing, and also to reduce on the imbalance between the urban and rural setting, where you see more of the past legal aid service aid providers were more in urban centers. The challenges, weak linkages between the center and the districts, and yet the districts would have provided a pivotal role when it comes to monitoring, when it comes to what is happening. The scattered legislation, I did mention that we have beats, we have one on advocates, we have one on students, we have one on remuneration, so there are beats and beats. It becomes a challenge to move forward. The lack of a national database, there is no national database on legal aid service provision. You can't tell who does what has happened. It's a challenge. Then the state briefs, as I mentioned that the Constitution only caters for death and life imprisonment. What about the rest? What about the bigger percentage of the population? Then the limited involvement of the community, it's also a challenge. And then we have civil society organizations and NGOs who take a leading role when it comes to legal aid service provision, but they tend to move for their survival as opposed to what they are supposed to do. Lessons, the partnership between government and the development partners is real good for sustainability. Unlike where it's only development partners that once they pull out, then we'll have issues of what next. The the NGOs and civil society organizations forming a network is good because they are able to share best practices. They are able to see what's happening. Then you are even able, as government, to build their capacity. Then the development partners funding, whereby they look at whoever is providing legal aid service aid, they remove duplication, they ensure that there is also legal aid service provision in rural areas because they look at it in totality. Then mainstreaming gender. Gender has been mainstreaming in all legal aid service activities in our country, which is good. Then the scattered legislation is a challenge. This is a challenge we have had, and that's why maybe there's need, we know that there is need to have a national legal aid policy. And then the private-public partnerships. These are good for sustainability. We have the women lawyers, we have where government and these bodies come up to move legal aid. Strategies need to fast track the national legal aid legislation. Then incorporate legal aid provision in the traditional mechanism. It's good because it will cut down a number of cases which are coming through the justice system. It will make sure that even cases which used to be handled by them, then they really observe the minimum basic principles. Then we roll out the just centers because it's an all-one center. It looks at everything. There's counseling, there's village participation. We need to control duplication and uneven distribution. The urban-rural biasness is something which we need to work on, community participation. And last, the benchmarking within, because you have good service providers of legal aid. The best would be we benchmark from within, then we can go out. Thank you for listening to me.